with a fresh mind.
Definitely, it is a bit of a challenge playing 4 games in a row. It's not just this, of course, but we've seen that in different leagues and different tournaments where it can take a bit of a toll. And mind you, Mike, we start at 12 p.m. Singapore time. That is lunch, so a lot of these teams, you know, maybe they get a bit out of fuel midway, could use perhaps a little pick-me-up with a drink or something.
You might need a Monster, John. It's the only drinks we drink here.
Exactly it.
I love the fact that no matter what I'm bringing up as a topic, you always find a way to make it about lunch.
Yeah, it's again, like, I know, it's Southeast Asia, we're all about food, because there's nothing else that... There's not much in this region to make people happy, Mike. It's really just the food. It's a miserable place. The food is great, so you might as well dwell on that. Still, both sides do trade 2 runes each.
You never get to work for the SCA tourism industry, John. You wouldn't be the greatest candidate, I think.
Come to Southeast Asia, we've got nothing else but food. That's one way to advertise.
Oh boy. Not so bit of harassment here. Whiteman gonna dish out a bit more just before that laning stage starts. He hasn't gone for the level 1 Feral Impulse, of course. He does go for the Wolves, which does mean he is quite susceptible to a lot of harassment out from the side of GEEK early, but of course he's gonna have CL there on that Enchantress. And that basically guarantees you the win in the lane, even if you provide all this harassment to Natsumi. He's just not going to care, because later on, he knows this lane is just going to be free for him to take.
Yeah, it is, and Zephyr, once you run out of those Fire Spirits, you really don't have much of a presence for half a minute, so there's only so much you can expect from the Phoenix to help Cuckoo out. Still, Natsumi is off to a bit of a good start, and it's really going to be at level 2 when Cuckoo can at least have the disarm going in these exchanges.
Zephyr taking so much damage. Level 1 impetus, just pure damage is always very, very nice at level 1, and CML has it. It's up to the top lane. You'll see Ben Soy struggling a bit there on that core Venomancer. Boom, you're going to try and help out in that position for Ember, but it can be a little bit challenging in the earlier levels. You've only really got that Sleight of Fist to spam right now. And that does tend to make it hard, though. Ben Soy going to get jumped on now. Raven going to make the chase, though no, they won't quite finish it, but Whiteman, it won't be enough. He went back to the south cancellation, but Ben Soy does back off in time. But this top lane so far for Raven going very, very well, John. Top of the last hit sport at 9-0.
Yeah, this is not a great sign for Adriot, just getting that done. Although they did land the Gale, but it's really not enough early on. You can see Whitemon as well, opting for the cast healing build. Just wants to sustain Raven in this lane. Just sustaining yourself is going to be a win.
Very, very true. You do need a lot of that regen when you are up against the Venom. It can get very, very hard to sustain yourself with that Poison Sting Venomous Gale damage. Of course, mid lane, Carl is there up against Mac, and it's the battle of the summons, it seems. Mac doing fairly well, and so is Carl. They're just trading very, very evenly in terms of farm at the moment. The bot lane, Zephyr, is going to be able to find CML. I thought Zephyr was going to be the one to die there, but it's not quite the case. Then she gets the first blood first, and now Whiteman goes down the top lane. Raven trying to fight back up against Fumi, does go for the waveform and does get the trade. But now Ben Soy making the chase. Raven, he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I think overall GEEK fam is still going to be pretty happy about grabbing first blood. Trading a Witch Doctor for an Ember isn't too bad as well, as, you know, that does give Whitemon a reset. He was out of mana for the Voodoo, gets to come back in with an additional salve, a clarity, and full mana means you can just heal Raven up, so I don't think GEEK fam's gonna mind that at all.
Well, at what point do you think this mid-Nexus Prophet starts making some rotations? Because we've seen this over and over again with these mid-MPs. They haven't been working out for most teams that are running them. They do tend to just be very, very stagnant in that mid lane. Just trying to continuously push it in, but just being defended most of the time. Do you think Mac is just going to focus on farming as every other mid-Prophet has done, or do you think he'll actually make the ganks happen?
I don't think you can expect too many early rotations from Mac. The earliest time we've seen NPs move around is level 5, and that's usually if there's a dive. It doesn't look like they're going to find that opening, and I think once you leave this lane, it's going to be very easy for Carl to completely take over. So you do have to watch out for where you commit. I think at this point, Mac is just happy to keep Carl in check. I think that's going to be key. Just keeping pace with the Beastmaster ensures that he's not really shoving these towers down.
Bot lane hasn't gotten any easier, by the way, for the Lycan. At least Zephyr might die here, and no, he does barely survive. CML here left the lane for a little bit after that first blood. And that really made it so Natsumi just could not farm up on that Lycan. Now catching up very, very quickly though. I suppose the one positive is with this Lycan is you can just pick up Necro 1 book and then really just rotate into the jungle and catch up very, very quickly.
Yeah, and Natsumi's set to have a pretty decent pace into that Necro book 1. He's not doing too bad in the last hit score though, 25 to 11, just slightly ahead of Raven, although the pressure from Zephyr now.
Yeah, they're going to go. They do actually get a kill into Raven top lane, but Natsumi does go down to the bot lane. Zephyr also losing his life. Now Wyman going to be chased down by Ben Soy, trying to make the TP play, and he will make it. But Raven also going down up at that top lane is not good news for GEEK fam. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but Adriot, they do manage to find it.
Yeah, this is a pretty topsy-turvy start. GEEK fam not gonna be happy with Raven, but they also found a kill on the Lycan, so in the end that's kind of an equal sort of priority trade. Still, Raven's just about to hit that point where he can pick up his Morbid Mask, and once he has that up, he could basically just leave this lane. You know, it's starting to be an issue with Ben Soy. Did opt for the Poison Sting and Gale build, really just not getting that sustained this time around for the Morph, and I think, you know, just wait for the Morbid Mask and try to go into the jungle and let Whitemon cop the hard lane. He needs EXP anyway.
CML going down in the mid lane. Looks like Carl just committed a raw. Does secure the kill for himself, and now Boomy's going to rotate over. Mac is there as well. They sprout up. Carl trying to TP, and he will make it. Boomy committed the chains to initiate that little engagement, and it does not pay off. But they can try to focus down this T1 mid tower a little bit. Mac does have a lot of trees going right now, so he can definitely apply a lot of pressure. This will force in Zephyr to try and defend this on the Phoenix, but now CML's joined in as well. And if they do find this mid tower, things could get a lot worse here for the side of GEEK fam. However, Zephyr going to take a lot of damage. Does end up going down to Booty, but another Carl will be there with Whiteman. Cuckoo also TPing in, and Booty should end up dying here on the Ember. They do manage to protect that tier 1 tower from really just going down.
Yeah, they find a nice little pickup as well, killing off that Ember, although they do lose Ben Soy. We're not going to be happy with that, and yeah. This is a constant issue for Adriot. TPs are overpowered, Mike. You don't have anything to stop them.
It's very true. I mean, that being said, Adriot does have a free TP in Mac, but Mac was just a bit too late to the party.
Yeah, he's it's been rather static, as mentioned. He is doing the rotations now, but he's out of mana and doesn't really have his Nature's Call, so they're not going to have additional treants still. With a Lycan, towers still melt pretty fast.
Slowly but surely. Now has the Necro 1 book up, so this is when the pushing really does begin. Mid lane, however, Boomy does go down on the Ember. Carl once again just finding another kill for himself. He didn't have to commit the raw, so he can actually go into CML if he really wants. They definitely want to start trying to find some trades on these towers. Meanwhile, Cuckoo bot lane forced to roll and TP away. Trouble there down the bot lane on the Pangolier. And overall, I think Adriot are doing pretty darn good so far with this draft. They are starting to group up into that mid lane. You'll see Natsumi just taking stacks away from the side of GEEK fam. There'll be a lot of farm being robbed from this dire side. You should be able to just collapse mid with this Lycan Nature's Prophet very, very soon.
Yeah, and it's really going to be key to find these early towers. Every single time when you have that Lycan draft, just want those early objectives. Come on.
He's dead. Does throw out the paralyzing cast, but it will not matter. With that Witch Doctor going down, it's going to be even more of an opening now for Adriot. This is getting worrisome for GEEK fam. They have not found one tier 1 tower yet. No trades going on for them. This is exactly what they did to the side of Adriot last game, and now Egg coming out, it is going to go down very, very easily. Zephyr just trying to delay things. Now Cuckoo with the Rolling Thunder, Raw committed by Carl. They do find Mac. Natsumi in the Wolf Ball will be able to run away, though. No, he wants to go back in. Carl, Wolf Ball low, and does go down. Cuckoo now swashbuckling away, and that should be enough. So 1-for-1 trade on those mid-heroes. Zephyr does also go down to the Phoenix. But overall, you'd call that a win for Adriot.
Definitely is. They found the objective they want. They can start eating into that jungle that GEEK fam has. And they are starting to balance it out a bit, although they do drop CML. Even then, Adriot, I think they need a lot more work done. They're finding the objectives, but you're starting to see the same thing happening from game 1. Raven's just left alone. He died once in lane, but he's having free time farming up now. You can't allow this Earthling to go unchecked.
No, that you can't. Raven going to be working towards that same build. He's just going for a Yasha first. Wanting those extra stats. Yasha just great value for a small or medium item. Into that T1 bot tower. Adriot can choose to defend this though. It's not going to be too big of a problem for them as they bring in some heroes though. Immediately Bensoy gets jumped on that Witch Doctor. The Death Ward just blows up Bensoy, and now CML going to be in trouble. Boomy is trying to jump onto Wyman in the background, but that won't matter too much to the side of GEEK fam. In fact, Wyman, he's still alive. Finally go down, but now Boomy has no mana left, so can't really remnant out. That'll be a 3-for-1 trade. Boomy just spending so much time trying to get through that Witch Doctor HP. And it's that Voodoo Restoration again, John. He just buys so much time for Whiteman.
It really does. You can't underestimate the sustain a level 1 Voodoo Restoration brings now. It just does a lot, and they lose 3 heroes, they lose the bot tier 1. You're not finding enough across the map to compensate. Natsumi's just kind of farming up, which is fine, but you're trading a lot for that farm. So GEEK fam gonna be happy with how these set of events are unfolding, and honestly this game I wouldn't mind Raven actually going for the Manta style. Once you have that up, you can just purge off everything Bensoy has. Then suddenly the Van Man doesn't do anything. You only have to worry about Nova, but Nova doesn't really kill you because it's non-fatal.
Holy crap, Natsumi found fast. He's got the Necro 3 off.
Yeah, he
does find Cuckoo.
Did skip boots, Natsumi, so it was a dead rush.
You never go boots. There's no point to it. You already run so fast as it is. That is a quick Necro 3. Now well, he's top of the net worth board. He has been focusing on farm quite a lot. But with that Necro 3 up, you could really start applying a lot of pressure here on GEEK fam. I don't think they can respond to it.
They've got to be a bit cautious about that. I think they do have some ways, if they're lucky with the bounces on Whitemon, and they just manage to take out just the right amount of creeps around Natsumi, got an opportunity to perhaps trap him in. Can't underestimate the damage Whitemon can do with Maledict and the Death Ward. So it's just the issue of clumping for Natsumi, just has to watch out for that, but for the most part, GEEK fam has been ignoring him. They've not really kept the Lycan in check. GEEK fam's just been focused on Raven, and it looks like they're just happy to let the Lycan kind of build up.
It's time for Natsumi to start pushing down more towers, though, I think. He, of course, is going to build into the AC by the looks of it straight after. Maybe the Helm of the Dominator first, though. He wants to add on that extra creep. See Adriot smoked up the top lane. They're going to see Zephyr on that Phoenix. Zephyr the only one there right now, so they'll just jump in, chains out as well. Can't Icarus dive away at the moment, and well, gets the egg off. Boomy's in trouble, and he does go down. That impetus hit was so close from being there. Now, Raw out. They are going to kill Ben Soy as well. That is not great news. You have such a quick Necro 3 book on Natsumi, but he can't use it because his teammates are dying around him.
Yeah, the execution again for Adriot just not quite being there, and with those sets of kills, they go straight to the pit. GEEK fam knows, without all of these heroes, there's no way you can really contest this Adriot.
That's a big loss. So this Lycan, 100% wants that Aegis. He's going to try and go for the deny with the Wolf, but doesn't get it. It does go down prior to the Wolf getting there for the Aegis. That's just such a shame. Adriot had lost so much in the span of a minute. And if you're GEEK fam right now, John, you are sitting very, very happy.
You definitely are. You're just building up. You've given Raven all the space. He has been keeping up with Natsumi. Now he's slightly ahead. So that Morphling is going to be an issue once more, as it was in game 1. And GEEK fam, you know, they do play better late. They're not depending on an early spike from a Venomancer. They're not depending solely on objectives and Whitemon.
Yeah, Death Ward CML just doesn't get out of range. He dies to that. Natsumi's going to find the traitor, or maybe not. Wyman's still alive. He does eventually go down, but Cuckoo, or Carl rather, has the roar up in just a second. Ben Soy with Zephyr going to go down. Now the Lycan being roared up. Can they burst him down in time? Cuckoo with the wrong thunder now, stunning up. They will get Natsumi and Boomy. He's going to try and make a run for it. In fact, no, he'll fight back. I don't recommend it though. Max in trouble. He will go down. And now Boomy really only left there with Ben Soy. He's trying to remnant forward. Carl is falling low, but Zephyr is healing him up. And now Ben Soy, he just came to the team fight, but he's going to die straight away by Cuckoo. And it's just not good news. It is definitely not good news for Adriot. You look at Raven, John, he's farming this whole time. He wasn't even there.
Yeah, he's just about to finish up that Mantis style, and suddenly the strategy with that Venomancer falls apart. You're just not going to have any effect on his HP regen once that's up, and right after, Raven's not even going to be satisfied with that. He's actually just going to go for a full BKB. So you really just lose any way to control, although... Oh no.
Oh, this is very awkward. He had the Agi morph going as well, Matt. The perfect timing there with that Orchid. Raven will lose the Aegis. That is a bit unfortunate, but it happens.
Yeah, it happens, and I don't think Raven's going to be too upset, though. Again, he's just been farming up, and he's just going to keep farming. He doesn't... He's going to finish the Mantis stall, go into the BKB, and at that point, Adriot, they have to be a lot more punishing towards Raven. They need to be able to find that target. They need to win these fights. They need to chain their spells out, you know, get the Poison Nova on top when the fight breaks out for max damage, but they haven't been able to clump up properly, and it's causing them issues. This is kind of the same issue we saw in game 1. They had big team fight spells then that they couldn't really get out staggered properly, and here in game 2, they're just streaming in one by one. They can't afford to do that.
Net worth lead only about 1k the way of GEEK fam right now. It's very, very close. Adriot, they are grouping up mid. They're going to smoke up. Be a big team fight. But the problem is GEEK fam have also smoked up at the exact same time. They're going to run straight into each other. Carl will have his smoke broken, so will Boomy. Natsumi now shows himself going to the wolf form. Paralyzing Cask is out from Wyman, but he'll be chased down straight away. He does go down. Now Cuckoo rolling thunder onto CML. Got Lofty Enchantress. Carl is under right now by all these strings of the egg. Right on top of the cliff. Nobody can take it down, and it is going to explode. Zephyr now the Sunray onto Natsumi. He's in big, big trouble, and he will die here to Cuckoo with the swashbuckle.
See what you are up against.
And I thought it was such a great fight for the side of Adriot to start with, but it just turned so quick, and now they'll lose Ben Soy as well. Just not the way they wanted this draft to go, and Mac, he just TP'd top. He just said, screw the team fight. I'll start pushing top tower, guys. I'll see you later.
Just a really good team fight again for GEEK fam. Zephyr with the egg up the cliff, giving them a lot of space there, and top of losing During that fight, Mike, you know what else Adriot lost? Adriot lost an Imclaw. It fell on the ground, they picked it up, so... Just losing a tier 2 item on top of losing all your heroes. You lost one tier 2 item, a really big one in that Imclaw.
At least they do get Cuckoo mid lane. Yeah, Raven's holding that Imclaw right now. So that is a very, very nice item to have in your pos 1. It does add a lot of damage on to the already existing damage of Raven.
It does. You know, I'm actually curious. Didn't they set it so that these items doesn't drop when an enemy's in range? We've seen this twice now, where it was Miracle yesterday who gave away a telescope, a keen scope, and Raven picks up an Imclaw. Like, that should not be happening. These are massive swings for any team that loses it. You know, these items are really important, and this is going to hurt Adriot. Even if it's just, you know, tier 2, that's a nice boon for GEEK fam.
That it is. I don't know if it was meant to be fixed, John. There's a lot of things that have been meant to be fixed that haven't been. Bit unfortunate for CML, John. He just misses out on the enemy sentry and puts an observer ward down right next to the sentry of the Dire. Look at this. 2 sentries surrounding the sentry of GEEK fam, and they're just right outside of the range. And that obs will get dewarded very, very quick by the side of GEEK fam. However, to Natsumi down at the bot lane. Nice easy pick off there for Natsumi. He does commit the wolf form for that. Now the top tier 2 tower does go down as well. So although Adriot have been losing these big engagements, they're not really that far behind. They are still very, very capable of pushing down towers very quick with this draft. And if you are GEEK fam, you can't really just take it easy. You have to keep up that pressure.
Oh, definitely. You can't really allow Adriot to bounce back with those objectives, and they have kept the net worth pretty much in check. Just a 2k advantage for GEEK fam. Not the biggest. And GEEK fam right now, again, it does look like they're just waiting for Raven to really be ready. He's saving up for... is just about the recipe away. So once that's up and running, with Manta, with the BKB, Raven's just not going to be controlled at all. I think that's really just the win condition for GEEK fam. They're just sitting it out. They know that Adriot needs these early objectives. And the fact that they've been stalled out for this long with a Lycan draft, you know, the timing's not amazing. It's not the worst yet. There is certainly room to grow. But you do start to wonder, is Natsumi going to be able to hold out against a Morphling down the line? Very recently, it hasn't seemed like he can.
I don't think you can, not as a Lycan. You can try. The only way I think you beat a Morphling late game is if he makes a mistake. Unless you get that Orchid off while he's Agimorphing, which we did see earlier on, which was obviously very, very effective. I mean, in all fairness, you do still have Ben Soy there on the Venom who can really stop all that regen happening in the first place. But the problem is Ben Soy is just dying so quick during these fights. He just isn't really having any impact.
No. And we've seen this with a Venomancer multiple times. Like, as soon as you approach the 25-30 minute mark, they just lose relevance. They're just not a factor. Still, looks like Adriot does want to find something. Raven's right there.
The wolf form going to come out. Natsumi's going to make a chase. Zephyr does TP into the outpost now, but could be in trouble. He has to maybe pop that egg early. He won't yet. He'll just hold out. Matt trying to go onto Raven. They're going to go after that Nature's Prophet now. Egg will be dropped in the middle of all this, and now the Carl. He does kill off Ben Soy again. CML will go down as well. A double. Now Matt trying to TP out of there, but Cuckoo with the good old drive-by John ends up finding him. And now GEEK fam, they find a triple kill for Raven. And Adriot are falling apart here. They're trying to push out that top lane and force them back, but it's only booming. It's an Ember Spirit.
Is under attack.
Yeah, he can't do much. He went for triples yields. He's really not going to be dishing too much damage out. They take the tier 2 bot. He can some chip damage with that siege creep, but it's really not going to amount to too much. Now, GEEK fam, they finish up that BKB on Raven. So even if Ben Soy lives, you're really just not touching this Morphling. He is just going to get what he wants in all of these exchanges.
Dire's top tower
increasingly bad news here for Adriot. Not to mention the Roshan's up. Now, as a Lycan draft, you always Roshans. Because that's what your hero does best. And, well, they've got to fight this. I don't think they can let GEEK have this for free. They're just already too far ahead to have an Aegis on top. Raven gonna catch out now. Boomy and Cuckoo gonna have the rolling thunder. Won't connect. Nice dodge out there from the Ember, and now the fight starts. Natsumi pops the Wolfborn. Raven still trying to find a target to roll on. He will just have to roll away, it seems. Carl getting caught out there on the Beastmaster, and now Matt popping BKB. Raw gonna be there onto Ben Soy. Wyman does end up dying. The team fight is very, very Natsumi ends up going down the high ground. Carl will go down as well, but they'll also lose Ben Soy on that Benno. Now CMO gonna get chased back. No, they want the Ember. They want the initial target they went for in the first place. He will not remnant, he will die like a man. But Raven's in a double again. He's currently 13-1 on this Morphling. And it's back to the Roshan pit.
There's no way you stop it now. You've thrown everything out. From Adriot, it is going to be a free second Rosh for GEEK Fam. Did cost them a buyback on Whitemon, but I mean, come on, it's a Witch Doctor. His buyback's not really the highest priority anyway. That was a lot of value just to ensure this Rosh. So they do find the objective they want, and they even get the deny in their bot T1. Mac can't even find that goal.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Now CML. Poor Enchantress is going to get caught out. Does Yule's up. Won't matter. In fact, it wasn't even her Yule. They just double Yule for the fun. Just to give her a bit more air time. So, nothing wrong with that.
Whitemon, can he go for this?
Yeah.
He can!
Death Ward, Ben Soy, gonna force stuff out. TP immediately as that Melody can do a lot of damage.
Wait for it.
That's just not a good sign though. Your Pos 3 is scared of a Pos 5 Witch Doctor. It's just not how you want to be playing this. Even comes by, gives him the cheese as well. It's like, here you go. Here one. In case you're in trouble, have some cheese. Zephyr, gonna get Yule's off again, but there will be a remnant out. Boomy gonna remnant out again. Raven is right behind. Wants to get that slide fish chains and does get it as well. He's gonna try and Yule's up now. It should be fine for remnant out of there.
Precious bounty.
Man, GEEK Fam's just finding a bit too much off the map now. 8k advantage, 17 to 30. It's at this point where I'd argue that Lycan drops off. He drops off really hard. Still saving up for the AC on Natsumi, but the rest of his draft, the rest of Adroit's draft, just centered around his objectives, and they're past that point. Your Venomancer's tapered off, your Lycan still has damage. Isn't enough to face up against Morphling, and now?
Oh, Mac, you gotta run, sir. He BKB TP's out. They won't have enough damage. That mid T2 tower gonna be a little bit in trouble now from GEEK Fam. They are gonna start forcing it down. Up at that top lane though, Natsumi has sent his onto the tier 3 tower. So this might force the side of GEEK Fam back. They do glyph. But of course those units are gonna go back to that glyph, and now boom. Tier 2 mid does go. GEEK Fam, do you want to TP back or do you want to try go high ground? They are going to try and go high ground. So it's a bit of a base race going on already between these two. Adriot not really backing off, but just going to force Carl to back up. That tier now very low. He's unable to find the Raw. Meanwhile, Boomy will just TP right in front of the tier 3 and does get away. Now, Zephyr was on top of Natsumi. He does have the Yules up, but decides not to use it. I guess there's no real point anyway, because you don't really have any help around. But that is actually a little win there for Adriot. They do get a substantial amount of damage onto that tier 3 tower.
Yeah, and they hold on to their high ground as well with that play. So, you know, they're hanging in there. They're forcing GEEK Fam to really think twice before committing for any further objectives, although Raven now just gonna chip away at the tier 1 for free. Has been up for a bit too long, and perhaps look at that tier 2, although their wave is pretty far out, and you still have Natsumi cutting that wave.
That tier 2 tower will give him enough to just buy out the butterfly. In fact, he's just gonna go to the jungle now, as he really just doesn't have any waves to farm. So ends up skipping the shotgun this time around, just wants pure right click. perfectly fine. Does have the butterfly up, and look what they found.
Oh boy.
Natsumi, and he has no wolf form right now, so he is just dead. That's a high ground attempt.
Radiant's middle tower. is
White
under
Mon.
attack.
Try.
Radiant structures
Pushing the side lanes here. Mac forcing in that top lane. Same was being done by CML down at the bot lane, but they are not backing off. They are going to
Radiant's
the mid
middle
tracks.
tower has fallen.
Boomy gonna run it back now. Raven already has that many barracks basically taken out, but the backdoor protection kicks in. Now silence is there from Matt. He'll match that off, but they can't finish off the racks yet. They need more creeps. The Sunray is there to heal up that creep wave. One creep still alive. They've only got so much time to take these racks out, and they will get it. Now the fight is on. Raven going in as that Ender Spirit form. Roar is there onto Boomy. He will get blown up. GEEK fans down to the bot lane. Buyback there from Boomy. Natsumi has respawned. Therefore, Icarus dive in. Another silence out onto the bot. He does still hold on to that Aegis. Slowly but surely that tier 3 is dropping, but Raven, he doesn't want to push things too far, but they are not letting him go. They want that Aegis at least gone. Spirit Vessel on top of them all. Still dying. Aegis expires. Raven, he needs to get out.
No.
He does have the cheese. He will pop the BK. Trying to run.
Dire's
Still trying to run. Matt will pop the BKB now. Boomy gonna make the chase. All onto that morphling. He is strength morphing. Silence is there. Poison Nova, Gale, everything being thrown out. He is in trouble. Raven, he will die. But now the egg is there. And Cuckoo rolling away with the rolling thunder. He will leave Zephyr behind. The egg does explode, and Zephyr will try to get one final kill onto CML and then just get himself off the map. He will do so. He'll TP out successfully. At least he did find Raven.
Yeah, so I'd say that's still a fairly successful defense for Adriot. Despite losing their racks, they still found a tier 3 top with a bit of a split push. They find a big kill on that Morphling, and they're keeping it a bit in check. They still need a lot of work on the map to really turn the tide against them. But, you know, you've got the AC up and Natsumi, saving up for the BKB, or Lycan can still get some work out, and without Raven, GEEK fam, I don't think you really want to fight right now.
Oh, Raw, Carl, he's just going in. She just got up, step for the Sunray. It's a lot of damage, Natsumi. He will just get toasted by that Sunray. Chains out though from the Ember now. Boomy trying to set up. Whiteman somehow still alive within this team fight. Zephyr is going to die. Whiteman will die as well. And although you found the Lycan, you definitely did not want to give up this much for that kill. But Cuckoo, man fighting, Boomy gets a triple now on that support Ember. Tar's going to be in trouble. They do have the TP cancellation there with the Yules. And Boomy, turn around, CML will be the one to pick up that kill, but now Raven's back. He will 1v5 him if that's what it takes. But maybe that wasn't a good idea. Matt, no, he's going to TP up. 4-on-1, and they do not want to bother with Raven right now. They will just let it go.
Yeah, but those are some really good pickoffs coming out for Adriot on the back end of that push. GEEK fam just,
Dire's middle
again,
tower
forcing
is under
fights when they shouldn't have. Raven was not there. I'm not sure why you went for that roar. You found a kill, but you've lost everyone else. That does stop the push, though, from Adriot, so I guess taking the Lycan out did stall out Adroit's push attempt, which does mean you get yourself a bit more time. Just would have rather not lost 4 heroes in the process. Still, Adriot, they are slowly building up. Boomy saving up for a Lotus Orb. Once that's up and running, he does get a bit tankier, and if you do ignore the Ember, he can really pump out that damage. You see Mac going for the MKB just to deal with the Morphling, and Mac has picked up the pace. He is dealing a lot of the damage for the team, him along with Natsumi. I'd say right now, Mac is a lot stronger in terms of just raw right click, so if you're looking for a solution to that morph, this is it. It's going to be the Nature's Prophet with the Orchid. And we have seen Raven get himself in spots where he doesn't have the Manta and he doesn't have the BKB. Has to be careful about using those items. He needs either one off every single time just to ensure that he's not going to be caught out.
Raven's going for an Eye of Skadi up next, so he's just trying to tank up even more and make life even harder for the side of Adriot. Again, we see Matt split pushing that top lane, trying to force GEEK Fam back. GEEK Fam may feel comfortable to just keep going down that bot lane. Zephyr is there to defend on the Phoenix, and he does do a very, very good job of defending. Quite hard to get through that Phoenix, especially with those Fire Spirits. Creeps just end up melting. Booming, no chains out. Did miss. And while they have that T3 tower down at the top lane, they just can't get past this Phoenix.
Yeah, this is really stalling out Adroit's push, but at the same time, GEEK Fam without Zephyr in fights lose a lot of their team fight presence. They need the egg around, and they need the Sun Ray for sustain. They need the damage from Fire Spirits, and as long as he's up here preventing this push, you're really not able to find anything as GEEK Fam as well. So it's just a stall tactic from Adroit to ensure GEEK Fam can't make any advances on the map, and this is gonna buy them time to farm up.
I don't think GEEK Fam mind having time as well, though. Again, you are still trying to finish off that Eye of Skadi on Raven before you want to go back. I think both teams are also waiting up that next Roshan, which is going to be up in about 10 seconds from now. Expect a big team fight there, but Adroit, they have smoked up early.
Invisibility.
Eye of Skadi now going to be there on Raven. Onto the Roshan. Treant scouting that out for the side of Adroit, but they have the Hawk there as well from Carl, so GEEK Fam know about this, and they are going to rush straight to the Roshan pit. Now again, this is a Roshan that Adroit can't really afford to give away.
And
So not going in towards it.
yeah, you're gonna need Zephyr around for the egg, but
Well, he just egged onto Mac, who got caught out there. He tries to BKB, but Cuckoo has a basher. Bashing through the BKB. Can he find one more? He doesn't need it. Raven, but now Natsumi's down. Carl, Wyman trying to channel the Death Ward, but he will die. The 2 down for GEEK Fam. No buybacks available. Natsumi runs out of weight, runs out of the wolf form though, and now Raven jumps in with the weight. First sit down. Mac can't afford to die either. He just fought back on that Nature's Prophet. Cuckoo's going to try and keep him controlled up with that Rolling Thunder, and Raven will chase him down. There is a unit there. Zephyr also in trouble, does end up dying on the Phoenix. He can buy back, so, but there goes Mac. It's a dieback on the Prophet. Raven's on a triple. He's an Ultra. He wants the Rampage. Ben Soy cancels the PB. He doesn't know what to do right now. He is surrounded. He wants to get the Rampage and the Morphling. All the tips coming up for Raven. And on top of that, the cherry on top, he still has a Roshan.
yeah, it's that's it. It's a free Rosh now for GEEK Fam. Third Rosh of the game. What a refresh. So they can have the double egg. That's gonna really help GEEK Fam find these fights, and I'm not sure why Ben Soy canceled his blink. It didn't look like he was stunned. He did just cancel it out. Well, I'm sure Raven's happy about that. Does get his Rampage of the game. And there you go. Refresh onto Zephyr. So you're gonna have to contend with this egg twice over, and you just can't. You can't focus on the egg because you have to be aware of Raven, and Zephyr's positioning has been on point. So GEEK Fam, they find a lot from that exchange. They found a couple of diebacks, biggest one on Mac, and they can just go straight in.
Raven, he might go for tier 4s. Nope. He's going down to the bot lane.
Is under attack.
They know the buyback's not there on Mac.
Radiant's bottom tower.
I believe they also know Ben Soy did buyback earlier on.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
He's just short of gold right now. They do have a repair kit, but it's not really going to matter, it seems.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
So that's the secondary racks going down. Now up towards that top lane. There is still a tier 2 tower. So no megas can be had yet. They are going to go ahead and clear out that tier 2 now.
Dire structures.
Boomy going to be there to try and clear out the creep wave, but they lift them off. Now Boomy going to be chased down. Zephyr there with his own form of Yules and Raven. Going to have damage? No. The Remnant will be up just in time. But on top of all the items Raven has now, he has as well. I couldn't have asked for it at a better time, as you are going high ground for that final lane of rats for Adriot. They will repair kit, but Raven can easily go through it. But instead, he does want to go after Booney. They use him up. Curfew, Rolling Thunder not coming out in time. Sun Rage going to keep Raven healed up as he keeps going to that tower. Now, Matt will go through it. Of course, the egg is there as well. Just going to be able to get the full edge duration off. CML guy as well. The double kill is there for Raven. He's just going for more kills this morning. He doesn't care about the tower. Ben Soy going to be the next target. Maybe a triple? No, not quite. The kill will go to Carl. But Raven will just keep going, and the GG has been called anyway. Another egg to drop from Zappa right by the fountain. It is a bit too bright inside the house of Adriot. And GEEK fam, they showed up today, John, getting a 2-0 victory over one of the top teams in the SEA region.
Yeah, they managed to show up and continue that streak over Adriot.